Today, a cool feature in ECW that I think is eClinical Messenger. So we're going to go over a little bit of that. There are some new features in it that I think are pretty cool. So just to get started, just a little background about what eClinical Messenger is. It's a voice and SMS messaging service that is a care management tool used to enhance communication between doctors and patients. It's the patients can respond to the message and have their status and the EMR system reflect that response. So that's pretty cool. And it's also sent via voice over internet protocol. So instead of like tying up or using the phone lines, this is going to allow for multiple messages to be sent out simultaneously. And it's also fully customizable by patient, visit type, provider, and facility. And when we get into the setup of everything, we'll show you how you can do that. A few features with Messenger, integrating workflows for increased office efficiency. Also, it allows for preventative health reminders for MIPS compliance. Scheduling jobs that compile a list of patients that are eligible for reminders, outreach campaigns, and educational materials. And communicating with the patient in their preferred method. Using clinical relevant information to identify patients who should receive reminders for follow-up care. And it can also generate lists of patients by specific conditions for reduction of disparities in outreach. Few of the benefits, and these are big ones, so really good for the clients to know. This is going to save time and cost. It eliminates the need for costly reminder letters, people send out letters, or tying up your front office staff for making all these phone calls. So they do not have to do that. It's also secure, so you can send secure message with clinically relevant information such as lab results, preventative health reminders, follow-up diagnosis, etc., via the patient portal and campaigns. It's punctual and reduces human error, and it's all integrated with eClinicalWorks. So we're going to jump right in here real quick to ECW in here, and we are going to go just kind of through the setup because there's a lot of new features and a lot of different things that practices are allowed to do with Messenger. But first, to set it up, you would have to go down to the admin and product activation. And then you would scroll down to the Messenger tab. We have ours activated here, but there would be an activate button here, and you would press that, and that's all you would have to do. And then you would log out and log back in, and that would enable your Messenger. And then from there, still on the left-hand bar, there's this Helo button right here. You would click that, and we are going to go to Messenger configuration. And these are all your Messenger configurations. So everything we want to do to set up Messenger is in this tab. And we're just going to kind of go and work from left to right here. Our first tab is our global settings. I like to kind of refer to this as your practice defaults section for Messenger. Everything in here is going to be set up practice-wide for everybody. Now, when we get to a few other tabs, we can customize things individually, by facility, by provider, or by visit type as well. So going down on this screen, this first is restricted messaging hours. Basically, this is set up to where right now we have it from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. And you can change this to what times you want, but this is saying that from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m., even if a message was failed during the time, we are not sending out any messages at all during that time. So if a message gets failed and doesn't send out by 8 p.m., it will not send it out that night until 7 a.m. the next day. You can also choose, our next is voice gender. You can choose if you want a female or male voice. Again, this can also be customizable when we get into provider settings. Your operator number in here, this would be the number when we give options. If someone was on the phone for a voice message and wanted to press 0, this is the number that it would call. So if you wanted that to be your front office number, that's usually what most practices choose to put in there. Our next would be send appointment reminder, number of days in advance. This first one is for voice, and the second one is for the SMS text. So if you just were going to send, 2 days in advance or 1 day in advance, all you would have to do is just put that number in here. There's a little cool advanced feature right here. We can click on that advanced feature, and you would have to select enable advanced functionality. And we could also send multiple reminders. We could choose which day as well for each. So for Monday appointments, my first reminder I would like to send on the Wednesday before. And then I could choose my second reminder is going to go out whichever day, maybe Friday, the Friday before. So we can set it to send multiple reminders right here. Just kind of a cool little feature. This kind of sets up where it's not gonna, if you had that 1 day reminder, maybe you're not getting any, like if for a Monday appointment, you're not getting a message on that Sunday, you could set it up to send a message for that Friday instead. So just a cool little feature there. And then next is your facility name. This is what is just gonna populate on any of the voice calls or messaging. So you wanna put your facility name in there. And then your caller ID number. This would be basically what it says when it sends the text or when the call goes through. This is the number that would be listed as on the caller ID. Now we'll get into facilities in a little bit here. If you have multiple facilities, you can choose these options. You can use what we set up top here as for all facilities as the operator number and as the caller ID number for all facilities. Or when we get into the facilities tab, I'll be able to show you where we can customize each facility to say something different. This greetings message, so everything in here with the templates and messages is going to allow you 2 languages, English and Spanish. This greeting message, all it is you can type in something here and it's just going to go through before any message is sent out. A lot of people don't use this area because with the templates we set up, there's usually a greeting in it. But if you wanted the same greeting to go like, hello, this is Missouri Medical Consultants, and leave it at that, and then that's going to go before every single voice or text template that we set up. So with our templates here, and we'll get into customizing a template, making it your own, just starting a new one, and eCW actually loads in a bunch for you, which I think are actually pretty good. But you have your first one is your appointment message template, and this is in English. So you can select this button down here, and it's going to load all your templates you have. These are the ones, we've created a few, but these are the ones that eCW has listed in there, and you can go through, look at it, and select the one you want. This one is an appointment reminder template. So it's going to come in here with all the name tags and everything, and we'll show how to do that in a little bit. And this would be your SMS text template right here. If you did have Spanish, it can load in the Spanish as well for you. This would be for the message, and this would be for the text. There's also an appointment machine template. So let's say it's a voice call and no one picks up, and it goes to the message machine. This is what it could say for you. And then you could also have an area for Spanish as well. And we'll get in a little bit how to set up templates. Next would be your appointment confirmation settings. So if we click the settings button, this would be for a voice call. And it gives you different options. If you press 1 to confirm, 9 to cancel this appointment. A lot of practices don't really like being able to cancel an appointment from an actual call. They would rather have you call in so they can get you to reschedule that appointment. So a lot of people use just the press 1 to confirm or press pound to hear the message again. Just different options you have right here if you wanted to use any of those. Okay, next, this is upload English or Spanish, a WAV file. So if your practice, and some have had it, have a professional, message that they've had set up for them, they can actually upload that file here and it's going to send out. I've seen it once before, but so yeah, if they had it professionally done, they can, in a WAV file, they can actually upload that message into the system. So scrolling down, next with same day appointments. So this is slightly a new feature. If let's say someone schedules an appointment for the same day, and you did want to send them a reminder, you could go in here and set up your template for a same day. This is a reminder. You have an appointment scheduled for today. So you could send out that same day appointment reminder. For our, just a few options here for our SMS text. So this is a pretty cool feature. If you've ever, received a text where it's like 1 of 2, 1 of 3, and you get multiple text, well, you can select this do not send multiple text messages if the length is greater than 160 characters. If you select that, you can choose this option to either truncate the message, which would stop it where the last letter was, or you can fail the message or do nothing. A lot of people just choose to truncate the message there. So it's nice that they're not receiving, 2, 3 text messages for an appointment reminder. So you want to make sure when you set up the templates that you try and keep the template under 160 characters. And we'll go through you can set lengths for characters as well for like names and stuff. And we'll show you that in a bit. Combined message feature. So guarantor responsible party having a same appointment on the same day. We can go ahead and set up a template for that. And it's gonna pull in both of the names where it says family appointments here. It would be, we are calling to remind you the following appointments for John and Susie, which are scheduled for today. So that's a pretty neat feature. And you can also, let's say, combine messages for patients on the same day. So let's say they had, 2 patients at the same facility. We can do a template for that, and it's not gonna say really the times. It's gonna say you have multiple appointments, which is good. So it's not sending out 2 text messages to the patients. The RX notification. So this is pretty neat. You can send your e-prescriptions just saying that, hey, your medication is ready at the pharmacy. It's going to pull the pharmacy name, address, city, and you can customize this and set this what you want to say as well. But this is fairly new. People are starting to use it. It's really nice to, send a text message to a patient saying, instead of it's great to go through the patient portal as well, but with this, you can just send a text message right to them saying your prescription is ready for pickup. Now, this enable patients for RX, you would have to press this to enable it. And then when we go and set up and show you where we can enter the phone number for a patient and set them up for messenger enabled, it'll have a little selection of what that patient wants to see. They would have to select RX notifications to be able to receive those. Your appointment booking notification, appointment change notification, and your reserve slot notification, these all really pull from like the patient portal. So if someone books something in there, we can, set a template. This is a courtesy call that your appointment was created. With this one, with the booking notification, let's say someone comes in or calls in and schedules an appointment. Well, we can send this maybe 30 minutes after it gets booked, or we can choose up to 240 minutes after. This will not allow you to send if the appointment starts within the next 30 minutes. So if it's like a same day appointment, it won't send that out. But let's say they call in and schedule an appointment for next week. This is just going to send you one quick message just confirming that appointment. And again, this is if they call in and change it, this can just send a message, voice or text, or we can choose patient preference of, hey, you changed your appointment. This is the new time for the appointment. And your reserve slot. So this would just be basically from the portal. If you did try and schedule a patient or a appointment, it's going to reserve that slot and send you a text for that. Scrolling down a little bit, text notifications for new patient creation on the portal. So if there is, if the practice using the patient portal and has pre-registration, well, this template, when it comes in, will be able to send that, hey, welcome to the clinic. You can book appointments now. Basically, we got all your information and all that good stuff. So it's just letting the patient know that we received their new patient creation information. Scrolling down a little bit, we can enable default configuration for new patients. So when we're going to web or message enable a patient, when I click the settings here, these are the settings that are just going to automatically populate. We can go in and change it by patient, but it's just nice to have this kind of as a default to automatically set up. So preferred voice to call, we can set up to home, whatever number's in the home field. Preferred SMS text, we can set it to cell. So, we want that text message to go to their cell phone. Morning for preferred time to call, and then language, and then types of reminders. Now, when we're message enabling a patient, we can easily go in here and customize it for each patient individually. So this voice message link validation, basically it's kind of cutting, it will fail the message if it contains less than, and you can choose the amount here. I think it goes up to 25 words, but we keep it like at 7. So if maybe that message machine cuts it off or something doesn't go through, it's just going to fail that message if it doesn't get the whole message out there, which is nice when we talk about how much it costs for this and everything. Any failed message you do not get charged for. And at the end, we'll go through the pricing and all that. So this section right here is pretty new. Resend failed automated message with alternate number. So if it fails with that first number, we can send it, let's say they have, a second number, which is they have a home and cell and they're different. We can send it to that second number. Now this section here, most people exclude work number. So if their work number was their second number, you probably don't want sending an appointment reminder to their work phone number. So you can exclude their work number right here. Scrolling down the message expiry settings, if I click on settings here, basically this is setting up that if the message failed for some reason and it keeps on trying to go through, so let's say this appointment and it failed the day before, it's not going to keep on trying to send it up to 12 hours before that appointment. So basically it's saying if you go, let's say you had a morning appointment, you go into that appointment, and then it sends this text message after you get home saying, oh, you have an appointment today. It will not allow that to happen. So that's a good feature to have. This message security settings, basically this is stating that when you send a text or a voice call, the patient is going to have to enter in some information just for some more security. And you can select which one, if they have to enter in the patient date of birth before they can see or hear the message, social security number, zip code, cell, or you can create your own patient specific key. So it's basically just setting up an extra security setting. I personally have not seen this used yet, but I think it's a pretty neat feature to have. And this last one here, you have to press the enable button. It's a cool little, you get the green V here. Sometimes it just comes out as a blue W for web enabled. It's just going to enable that, and that's just a visual kind of icon for all, patients, providers, providers and front office to see if that actual patient is web enabled. So that's the main big tab. Your global settings, kind of call them practice defaults and all that. Next would be provider settings. So I like to call these next two tabs provider settings and resource settings, kind of like your my settings. So basically anything, let's say a provider wanted to customize everything for him or herself, you can go ahead and do that here. So let's say Mary Jones wanted her own voice to be female, her own restricted messaging hours. You can just set up all these own greeting message, and she could do her own template right here. Everything on this is going to override what was set up on the practice defaults. So it's a nice feature to have here. You know, some patients want their own, or some providers want their own settings here. You can also choose a provider and then exclude. Down here at the very bottom, you can excluded providers right here. So we've excluded this provider, basically saying do not send reminders for appointments for this provider. So this provider would be, you know, excluded from anything in Messenger then. Sometimes you know, if it's a 4 or 5 doctor practice, 3 of them want to use it and 1 doesn't. So, which is totally fine. So you can go ahead and exclude this provider. Basically, resource settings is the exact same thing. You can choose your resource if you wanted, you know, a different template for a resource. Let's see if we have one in here, a lab only resource. We can set up a customizable template just for that, which is going to override anything in the practice defaults. You can also see at the bottom here, you have do not send automated reminders for appointments for this resource. So if we click that, it's going to go into the excluded resources here. And if anytime that resource is on the schedule, it will not send out an appointment reminder for that resource. So just customizable by provider and resource right there. Next tab is your mass enable tab. I recommend doing this right when the practice decides to do Messenger. It's just a good way, anyone with the phone numbers, you can go ahead and mass enable the patients for this. And this is what you can kind of set up what it would come to. Now, it's not going to override if someone was already set up with their preferences and all of that. It's not going to override that at all. It's only going to do the patients that have not been set up for Messenger. So it's just a way to go mass enable everybody. Now, any new patient that comes in, you're still going to have to go and set them up for Messenger. So it won't take that. It'll just do existing patients. So this next I'll show you right here is the tasks. So this is kind of how we set up when everything is going to send out and run. This is our test database, so it's kind of shut down, but you have your voice message morning logs, afternoon logs, and evening logs. So whatever the patient's preference was, if they chose morning, afternoon, or evening, we're going to set a time that we want our morning messages to go out. So if we want our morning message to go out at 8 a.m., we would select 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. We'll select that, and that's what time those messages will send out. Same thing with afternoon and evening. We can set that time we want those messages to be sent out. And you're going to want to set you have your uploads. So you have your voice message upload here, your message status, your SMS text. You're going to want to set these probably at 1 minute because it's not going to slow the system down or anything like that. This is just how it uploads anything new and to put it in the queue to get ready to send out. You also have the time, so it's only going to allow you 1 time for the text messages. So you can just select which time during the day you want that text message to be sent out. And then there's also, if you want it to enable the last minute appointment log, you can enable which time you want that to be sent out as well. So this would be if this is going to be at night usually, because if someone comes in, schedules an appointment after these messages have been sent out, we can go ahead and send them a reminder later that evening. Okay, then our next tab up here, we have our voice logs and our SMS text logs. Now, this is our test database, so you're not really going to see too much in here, but I do have a little screenshot. So this basically would be a voice log, and this was a live database. Everything it can say in here. So it's going to tell you, it'll have the name and phone number, block those out, but it'll have the status, whether it was completed, what type of the appointment was, when it was sent, the time, message type. It'll give you, okay, the message was sent out, or it'll say why it wasn't. You can have your failed. So anything failed here, it'll say why. A lot of times if it fails, it'll say there was no phone number in there. So then you can go look, and I'll show you the search features. You can look at that and then make sure that, let me pull this up real quick, all these settings right here. So we could select message status failed right here, and then just look for those failed messages, and we can see why they were failed. If there's no phone number in there, well, then maybe we can have the front office give them a call and make sure we get a phone number in there for them. And this can, help with no-shows as well, just to see why that message was failed. Exact same thing with the SMS text. It's going to list the same material right here. And you can actually go over and see the exact message that was sent out. If you click this little envelope right here, it'll tell you the exact message that was sent out. So it's just a nice thing to see. You can see if the patient actually got the message. You can check up on that. So our next, when we talked about visit type before, this is kind of customizing the visit type. So you can, again, kind of like a my setting for a visit type, it's going to take precedence over anything in the global setting. So if we had our annual visit, we wanted this to have, every time someone had an annual visit, we wanted this to be the template for it. So we can customize it exactly for that as well, just with the same features here. You can also select one and go down to the bottom and click do not send appointment reminders for this visit. And that's going to put that in the excluded list, and it's going to exclude that visit. So anytime someone scheduled a visit for an annual visit, it's not going to send out a reminder. So just different options it's given everybody. Next tab, your facility settings. Basically, another my setting for facilities. If a practice has multiple facilities, you can go ahead and select that facility and then have different, you can have the address different, facility city. You can also make your own unique caller ID number and operator number. So these would pull just for this facility and override anything that was in the global settings in that feature there. And again, you can also select do not send appointment reminders for this facility, or do not send automated RX notification for this facility. And they would go into this excluded facility. So anything booked in that facility would not receive any message reminders. Just another option there. Visit status mapping. So this is pretty cool feature. Anything that happens, so let's say you got a voice call and it was confirmed over the phone, and this is the code that would be used for it. We can select if we want to update the status on the appointment and also update the notes. So let's say we chose both of these. They got the voice message, press 1, confirmed it over the phone. Well, it's going to change this to the visit status, confirmed over phone, and it's also going to put this message, and we can choose this to whatever we want to say, but it's going to put this in the notes field on the appointment window. So it's just a nice visual reminder saying, oh, they already confirmed this on the phone during the voice message. And again, you could customize this. Let's say it failed, it left a message. It's just a visual reminder. So if that front office sees, oh, it left a message, so it didn't really get through, maybe then now I'll give them a call. Or if it failed, well, I'm going to call them now to make sure they're coming to the appointment. Just nice things to see here on the appointment window. A little feature right here, it's kind of interesting. So let's say I would use this for like a word that's hard, or like a provider's last name is, it's spelled different. You could type it in right here and play it and see how it's going to sound. And if it sounds not right, then you can actually like type in how you think it. Let's say it's like Rajesh, R-E-J-E-S-H, but it's really pronounced Rajesh. You could do R-A-A-J-E-S-H and play it. And if that sounds correct, you could go over to this global keywords right here, type in the real name, but then the value right here, you could type in how it should sound. And so every time that real name comes in there, it's gonna go to this value and pronounce it that way. So it's kind of a, sometimes, with the voiceover, it doesn't sound awesome. So you can go in here and try and correct that as much as you can. This is also good for phone numbers as well. So like, let's say you had your 1-800 number in here, and when you play it, it sounds really fast, 1-800. So you could go in here and just do 1 space 8 space 0 space 0 space and the rest of the number. So then it's gonna, when it's doing that, playing that number, it's gonna slow it down a little bit. So it's easier for the patient to listen to. So that's basically the messenger settings. We can go in right now to kind of our templates, and I want to show you that pretty quick. So you would go over to menu and then EMR and then messenger right here. And it's going to open up your messenger templates. So a lot of these ECW pushes in, and they're already there. You can use the ones they have, or you can go over here. You can kind of edit it, or if you didn't want it, you can go ahead and delete it. But it's really easy to do your own now. You can just add right here and go ahead and name your template. And this is going to be an appointment confirmation one. Then you have your different options of kind of what type of message type it would be. We'll just select appointment here. We can submit it. So now it's going to go right into here. So if I select this, I can go over here and start typing what I want. So this would all be customizing it for myself. So you could type in, hi, this is Missouri Medical Consultants. Then you're going to have to choose. So all these tags right here are going to pull, which is a super easy way if you wanted to customize your own. So you could type that in, and then you could put in the tag to name. So it's going to pull that patient's name. All of these tags are able to be used. It's the day of the week it is, the doctor's name. So when you type in your message, you want to go up here and use these tags. It's just a nice, easy way to create your own. But if you wanted to look at an appointment, so here's a general appointment. This would be one that was already built in here. But you can go in here and just edit this. Just make sure that you have the tags you want in there, because that's going to be pulling from that patient. And then this would be voice, and then you could switch over to SMS right here. So you have your voice and your text right there. So one thing with the text I wanted to show really quick was this keyword length. When we were talking about if it was a message over 160 characters, you can go, so a lot of this is used for like, for the patient name here. Let's say the patient has just a super long name. We could just max this out at like 10 characters. So it's not gonna, whatever the page, it's gonna cut it off at 10 characters. And this is sometimes a good feature. If you're right on that, let's say you have 150 characters in your message, you want to make sure that patient's name isn't going to cut off a lot of the the end of the message or anything. So you can go ahead and customize with the keyword settings here exactly what you want. So that's really it for the templates. Again, you can make your own. A lot are already in there. I usually recommend going into one of them and then making it your own, or just using what they have there, which is nice as well. So we're going to talk kind of real quick about how to do it for a patient. So if we go to, we're going to search patient here. And then if we go, there are several ways. So we can go into patient demographics here. And on this patient info screen, you have your home phone, cell phone, work phone, all of this. And this is where it's all going to pull from. So I like to tell the front office, let's get their home phone and cell phone number. Let's get both of them. Right here, would be our settings. So if we click on this little quote box, I guess right here, it's going to pull up our patient communication settings. So this is going to basically, get our messenger enabled and exactly what we want. So if this patient wanted to be voice enabled, we could select this, what language, what phone number here, if there was a cell in there as well, and also what time in the morning, afternoon, or evening this patient would like that appointment reminder sent out via voice. Also text if you want it in English, and you can choose your numbers here for text as well. If the patient just wanted to receive voice and not text, you could go ahead and unclick the text and just leave the voice enabled. So it's basically customizing it by patient here. Also on the right side here, you have the reminder types. So this is, let's say the patient didn't only want it to receive appointment reminders. Well, we could just click this. And so any lab reminders or any medication reminders, health maintenance, general, they're not going to go out. So you can customize which ones the actual patient wants to. Now, when we set up that RX confirmation, this would have to be checked for that patient to be able to send that medication reminder. So it's all, again, it goes to with training the front staff and make sure everyone's doing this correctly. Also, you could go, just if you're in here, you could go down to the bottom here and send them a message just right from the screen. So the other area would be in the patient hub. Pull it up right here. So right down here where Messenger is, you can click on this and you have Messenger configuration, which is just where we were at. So if you click on that, this exact same screen right there, just from the patient hub. There's also a couple other features here. You have your Messenger log, and this is just for this patient only. And you can, it's kind of neat to have. You can see just for this patient all the messages that have been sent, kind of what the status was, if it was delivered. You can, again, look at the message there. So it's kind of a way you can, if they said, well, I didn't get this, you can go through and look at their messenger log and check right there. And if you are on the hub, you can also quickly go ahead and send a message. Just an easy way, you can click that send message and it's going to pull up. You would switch to either voice or text over here. You can choose which, say there was a missed appointment, you can choose that and you can go ahead and send that out to the patient. So just allowing you to do several things right there from the patient hub. Real quick before we get into where in the system you can use it, a new thing that's not really new, but I think practices should use it a little more is this message campaigns. And we'll just go through one real quick here. You have let's just start with a yearly visit reminder. And there's a bunch of campaigns set up in here that you can go through and look and see what options you would want to do. But with this yearly visit reminder, so let's just view details here. Basically, it's going to reach out to patients who haven't been seen in the past year and get them to schedule an appointment. So it's doing all this work for you. You can set up all the triggers and you can customize all of this, but you would go in and subscribe to it. And then you're going to pick which facility. So here's your yearly visit reminder. You can pick which facility you want, which provider you want. Then you can click the next tab. You can, pick which gender if you want both, what age group you want. There's tons of different options in here, and you can go through and set up when you want it to be sent. And then you can preview the message here. Hey, it's been a while. It's basically just trying to get someone back into your office that hasn't been there for a while. So it's a little bit of setup in here, but once it gets going, I think it's a really cool thing to have. Maybe in flu shot reminders is one. This is a yearly visit. They also have like flu shot reminders. So just a bunch of ways you can send messages to make sure people are coming in the office. And then you would click confirm and you could confirm everything here. So to use Messenger, outside of just that automated messaging, there's several places that are, I think, really great to do. So the first I'll show you is your office visit window. So when you are in this office visit window right here, let's say, I don't know, maybe the doctor had to leave or just anything, you just wanted to send any reminder to anyone on this list. You could select all or just select that one patient, and you could go up to Messenger right here. Yes. And then it's going to bring up your Messenger box right here. And we can pick which template we want to send. Let's say, emergency notification, appointment's been canceled. We could choose that and then go ahead and send that out to that patient directly. So this is an area where you can just send a message quickly to multiple patients. Another place is on the resource schedule. So if the front office was right here and they just wanted to send one message to here instead of going to the hub, you could right click on the patient and then go down to Messenger right here. And again, it's going to open up your Messenger template box. You can choose which template you want and send it from there. The patient hub was the other, which we already showed. Telephone encounters. So you could go up to a telephone encounter right here. You could open up a telephone encounter. Actually, let me close this real quick, if it'll let me. So you could select which one in all these encounters. So you could select this telephone encounter right here after you read it and everything, and you could go to Messenger right here and choose your voice or SMS template to send out to that patient. And it'll be linked with this telephone encounter. The other area would be labs. And again, you can select the patient right here and then go to Messenger right here. And it's going to open up your Messenger template and you can send them, if you did a customizable lab one or a normal lab report, you could go ahead and send that out to the patient. Where I like this Messenger to be used as well is over in the registry. I think it's pretty cool. You can go to 3 areas in here: registry, patient recall, and lookup encounters. We can start with registry. This is a really neat thing. Anything in these tabs, we can search by one ICD code and then see when that was issued or whatever, and we can get all those patients, and then we can go down to the bottom and send a mass message to all those patients. Demographics, vitals, your CPT codes, labs, any lab that hasn't been done in a while. All these tabs, just a really neat thing you can do, and then send out a mass message to different patients. Also, patient recall, you can send a message as well. So if you do some dates, you can just go up and send a message to multiple patients as well right there. And look up encounters. You can use all these filters up here. Here's ICD as well, and you can go ahead and send a message right here as well. The last area, let's go up to the resource schedule. Let's say an appointment got bumped earlier on. You could go up to your bump list right here, click the bump list, and if there's any patients listed here, you could scroll down and just send them a message. Hey, we need to reschedule your appointment message, kind of anything on the lines of that. So that really completes all the kind of messenger setup where it's used in the system. Now there is one more thing with kind of pricing here. And basically, we'll show you the costs right here. It is 15 cents per message for everything up to 1,000 messages. After 1,000 messages, it goes to 10 cents per message that is sent out. So it's going to vary, and once that it hits that each month, it's going to reset. So it'll start over each month. Some people think it sounds like a lot. It's really not. If you get, I tell the practice, if you get one no-show to come in, or you get one person to schedule an appointment, that takes care of it easily right there. But it does cost, so it's 15 cents for the first 1,000, and that's voice and text combined. And then 10 cents after that, 1,000, but resets each month.